Hello everyone, welcome to today's class, and our class today is called Santa Cops. Let's move on to language focus. 1번. Locals refer to Sequillo as Little Chicago. Refer to is what we're going to concentrate on today. So use refer to describe a name given to something or a word used to mean something. So, refer to. In Korean, let me just move it down here. We might use refer to as 뭐뭐라고 언급하다. Right. So let's look at our example. People sometimes refer to Chicago as the Windy City. So 사람들은 때때로 시카고를 바람 부는 도시, Windy City라고 부릅니다. Or 뭐뭐라고 언급하다. Some people say Chicago is called the Windy City. Some people refer to Chicago as the Windy City, meaning there's a lot of wind. All right. Or the next example, in the UK, people refer to trucks as lorries. 영국에서 사람들은 트럭을 lorries라고 언급하다, 부릅니다. So in the UK, they don't call them trucks usually. Sometimes they do. I'm sure they do. They call them lorries. So it's just another word for truck in English. So refer to. 뭐뭐라고 부릅니다. 언급하다. Refer to as All right. Let's move on to 2번. Fighting drug crime in South America is a dangerous and difficult job, and ultimately, it's probably impossible for the cops to win. Ultimately is what we're going to focus on now. Today is a pretty easy lesson, I think, because they're short expressions today. So, use ultimately to describe a long-term situation. Ultimately, like 궁극적으로 결국 kind of like. So if I look at this example here, Kevin had some hard times, but ultimately he succeeded because of his diligent effort. 케빈은 힘든 시간을 보냈지만 그의 부지런한 노력 덕분에 결국 성공했습니다. 고생 많이 했는데 진짜 열심히 일하니까 성공했어요. Alright. Or ultimately, each person has to make their own decisions. 궁극적으로 사람들은 인생에서 그들 자신의 결정을 내려 합니다. I think today is going to be a very easy lesson. Let me see if I can give you another example then. Ultimately, it's up to you whether you try hard or not. So ultimately, it's up to you whether you try hard or not. So 궁극적으로 여러분이 열심히 하지 않는 것은 여러분에게 달려 있습니다. Now, we have another, I'll introduce this because we have a bit more time. We also have other expressions like at the end of the day. This also means ultimately. So if we go to our examples. Kevin had some hard times, but at the end of the day, he succeeded because of his diligent effort. Ultimately, each person has to make their own decision. At the end of the day, each person has to make their own decisions in life. There is some extra expressions for you to learn today. Now, let's move on to the language focus quiz. 1번. People sometimes refer to my city as remember, refer to 뭐뭐라고 언급하다. Sometimes people refer to my city as the city that never sleeps. 사람들은 때때로 내 도시를 잠을 자지 않는 도시라고 부릅니다. 언급하다. Okay. Or 2번. In people refer to as In Australia, people refer to sandals as thongs. 자, 호주에서 사람들은 샌들을 thongs라고 부릅니다. 언급하다. Alright. 3번. Although it is difficult, ultimately you will be glad that you went to school. Although it is difficult, ultimately you'll be glad that you went to school. 비록 어려더라도 궁극적으로 여러분은 학교에 갔다는 것에 기뻐할 것이다. Which is true. I hated going to school. But ultimately, remember, 궁극적으로, I'm glad I went. Ultimately, nobody can be perfect. 궁극적으로 누구도 완벽할 수 없습니다. Sadly, but true. Now let's move on to the further discussion. Okay, 1번. Some people say that police should focus on preventing violent crimes instead of targeting drug crimes. What is your opinion? So, 어떤 사람들은 경찰이 마약 범죄를 표적으로 삼는 대신 풀역 범죄를 예방하는데 초점을 맞춰야 한다고 말합니다. 당신 생각은 어떻습니까? That's stupid. They have divisions for each area. There are drug divisions within the police to handle drugs, and there are police officers who deal with more violent situations. This is not a very smart question because there are already departments within the police that focus on these things. And though they can't completely stop it, they are trying their best to, well, we hope they are trying their best to stop both violent crimes and drug crimes. 2번. The author suggests that it is ultimately impossible to stop the drug trade in South America. What do you think? 작가님은 남미에서 마약 거래를 중단하는 것은 궁극적으로 불가능하다고 제안한다. 이 아이디어에 대해 어떻게 생각하세요? It's going to be difficult. Close to impossible, I would have to say as well. From what I know, which isn't much, but from what I've heard, there's a lot of corruption within South America and the government and drug trading. So in order for drug trading to completely stop, the government would have to be in full support. And from what I know, the government isn't in full support of this situation. So yes, I also agree that it's almost impossible to stop the drug trade in South America. Anyway, that wraps it up today, and I'll see you on the next class.
Sternly.
Sternly.
Elf.
Elf.
Make one's way.
Make one's way.
Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer.
Festive.
Festive.
Pull off.
Pull off.